20,
19,
18,
17,
16,
15,
14, 13,
12,
11,
10,
9,
8,
7,
6,
5,
4,
3, 2,
1, 0.
Happy Anniversary, ICS!
Let me tell you a story. There were two little mice. They were brother and sister. They're about your age. They were playing and playing and playing and playing and playing. They weren't playing cat and mouse games. They were just playing mouse games. They're playing and playing and playing and playing. All of a sudden, a big old alley cat came right toward those two little mice. Those two little mice went, ah! But fortunately for them, they were on the other side of a fence. When the cat went like this, he could not reach those two little mice. Well, as soon as those mice realized the cat could not reach them, they went, nah, 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 you can't get us. The cat went, they went, well, that cat stepped back from the fence, and that cat squatted down, and that cat jumped up on the top of that fence, looked down at those two little mice. Those two little mice looked up, they said, uh-oh. And the cat jumped down, and he started walking to those two little mice. Those two little mice went, ah! And they ran and they hid behind their mother mouse. The mother mouse, she put her babies behind her like that, and the cat was coming closer and closer, and that mother mouse didn't know what she was going to do, but she knew she had to protect her children. And the cat was coming closer and closer, and that mother mouse reached deep down inside herself and went, woof, 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 woof. And the cat jumped the fence and ran away. And that, my friends, is why it's very important to know a second language. I've been sharing stories at the school for just about 20 years. And I realized how comfortable the children were and how wonderful the teachers were and how well they worked together. And 20 years later, over this past 20 years, I've bumped into many of the children who are now young adults who got their educational start at that school. They're young adults out in the world doing things, doing positive things and making a difference. And they can point back at their roots of education and know that they were cared for and educated at ICS. And I'm glad to be part of that, along with this wonderful staff there, and of course, the wonderful director, Julie. She makes everyone that comes to that school feel welcomed, and so I want to welcome you all to the wonderful Julie.
Happy Anniversary, ICS!
Thank you, Len. I can't think of anyone more appropriate to start us off to tell the story of ICS. We have truly loved having you come here every year to share your stories with students and staff. You are truly a part of the ICS family. Welcome to all who are joining us for our 20th anniversary celebration. Our primary task tonight is to celebrate ICS. In the course of the next hour or so, you will learn the story of ICS. You will hear from global citizens, those who have helped us to fulfill our mission and shown commitment to ICS. You will also, throughout, hear performances from artists who are part of the ICS family. So sit back and enjoy what promises to be a spectacular next hour.
Charter school is 20 years old this year.
Yeah,
So,
I know.
so they're
very well.
celebrating. Yeah.
You know, my original idea was let's have K to 12 and this bilingual immersion program. And not too many people really are enthusiastic about bilingual education. You know, I think I was the one pluralist in the entire community. And I got a certain amount of mileage out of that, but pluralism isn't really au courant anymore. I mean, we're all into ethnic separatism and pluralism now. But that was my concept. And Spanish, I spoke Spanish. I learned it in high school. And I thought, God, I wish I'd learned it as a kid. So we rented space for a year from the boys club in Pawtucket, and then Shimber actually scoped out that building where it is now, over in Pawtucket on Pleasant Street there. She scoped it out and convinced the landlord to rent it. And then he wouldn't fix up enough space for more than 100 kids. So if we're going to get any more than that, we ended up building on property that he owned, which is, but we actually pulled that off. What a workout, and got the thing up, and pretty soon they had enough room for K-5. Julie Nora was what the doctor ordered, I think. You sat on that board for a while, right, Robin?
Yeah, I'm on the board again a second time.
Cindy Mauch, who was my assistant director there for years, she was kind of like, she was a banker at the time, and she signed with, God, I didn't sign up for an elementary school for kids. I signed to work with everyone. I said, Cindy, be patient. I think it's going to connect, and I mean, the idea of it came really out of community needs assessment. We were going around door to door talking to people in the South Side. A lot of the Latino parents just couldn't, they couldn't function in the schools because they couldn't make themselves understood, and there was nobody who really welcomed their use of Spanish at meetings. So Julie, Debbie Schoenberg spoke Spanish, and so does Julie, and so they really. The idea was to create an atmosphere where minority kids, particularly Latinos, could really thrive in it.
Feliz Anniversario ICS.
Our current ICS fifth graders have helped us to create and record trivia questions. These questions will be shown throughout the evening, and the first person to answer the question correctly in the chat will receive a prize. Good luck.
This following section is brought to you by Dorcas International Institute of Rhode Island. Thank you for your support.
¿Cuántas aulas hubieron en el primer año de ICS?
Hi, I'm Michelle Johnson. I'm the International Baccalaureate Primary Years Program Coordinator. This is my 20th year here at ICS, and I'm excited to celebrate with my colleagues and the community.
Hi, my name is Helena Simões Oliveira. I've been primarily the English Portuguese kindergarten teacher. I also did first grade a little while ago. I'm very excited to be here for 20 years and celebrating with my colleagues Michelle and Miss Maritza.
Hi, my name is Maritza Martel. I've been here for 20 years. Like Miss Elena said and Miss Michelle, I've been here since we opened. I am one of the assistant administrators, but also my first year I was a TA, and my second year I was a secretary / art teacher / theater teacher / nurse and everything else. And I am very proud of being celebrating our 20th anniversary.
Is there a certain memory you guys have together in the beginning that you want to talk about?
The drums. Eating lunch and eating chocolates.
So I was thinking we should talk about one of our first memories from ICS. What just sticks out from that first year?
Oh, wow. Do you remember the drums? When the kids were banging on those drums and we're like, oh my God, we're in the middle of the class.
Yeah, I remember going to this big area room with all groups. We were all sitting on the floor and students were demonstrating abilities that they were learning, and everyone was paying attention.
We've constantly built a community, and some of those experiences that we're thinking about come from partners that have been part of our school. The drums, I think, were part of the capoeira enrichment program that some of the students were participating in, and the presentations that we were doing were from the work that we were doing in classrooms, really building on the students' inquiry and their ideas of what should happen in a school.
Michelle, let me ask you a question.
Okay.
So you were our first grade teacher, and now you are our IB coordinator. What does this means to you.
First of all, it's an honor that I have spent 20 years growing as a person and growing as a teacher. And you're right, I started here as a first grade teacher on the English side, and then I studied to be a reading specialist and was able to help people on their journey to becoming literate. And then I studied for ESL and teaching speakers of other languages, English. And then I've been given the opportunity to really work closely with the classroom teachers and to be a bigger part of the curriculum. And I think that's something about ICS from a teacher's perspective, that there is opportunity for you to grow and learn and keep building your own practice, and you're not stuck.
The value that we all share, the families and the staff and teachers, about culture, about arts, music, physical education, connection with the language and the culture.
Do you know how many languages we can speak in this school? Oh my. I mean, we have people from all over the world in our school.
So, the future of ICS. My dream at ICS is just to be the Portuguese teacher and have lots of Portuguese students.
I love that dream, Helena. I think if we could expand and grow and have more students, we would be able to serve a bigger part of the community. And I think that we can dedicate more resources to building our sense of culture and community in both language strands. And I think that it would be amazing too, if we're dreaming, if we could also extend to the middle school. You know, we end at 5th grade and they leave us, and we are, like Maritza said, we're a family. And so to watch them leave us is just, it's a heartbreak for us every year.
So now that we have our 5th graders from the Portuguese strand going to the Azores, in the future I see our Spanish strand traveling to one of our countries of, Latin America's places, and just meet a little bit more of the culture.
The Pioneer and Dual Language program.
Ai, meu Deus, I'm so cold. Give me a rub. Obrigada. Okay, thank you. Imagine if I was a baby in a bikini now. I could never feel.
There we go. Elena, wait, because he's already coming by.
You're not recording. Are you recording? No. That part you didn't record. Everything is recording.
Everything is recorded.
Então agora é a minha hora de falar português. Eu tenho tido um enorme prazer de poder falar português, que é uma língua do meu coração e uma cultura muito especial para mim. O ser português é ser português no mundo inteiro, não só no Brasil, como no Portugal, mas em todo o lado do mundo onde se fala português. Tem sido um prazer celebrar as culturas das nossas famílias e dos nossos alunos nessa escola linda. Temos aprendido muito uns com os outros e um dia eu sonho em ver os meus alunos a regressarem à ICS e a serem professores na ICS e a visitarem a ICS talvez como enfermeiros, como advogados. Eu sonho que os meus alunos todos estejam na universidade a desenvolver as suas potencialidades e um dia regressar à ICS.
Bueno, pues para mí ha sido más que un honor ser parte de esta familia. Comencé porque simplemente me pidieron un favor y 20 años después sigo aquí porque realmente creo en el sueño de lo que es ICS. Creo en el amor a la cultura, el amor al idioma, creo en el amor hacia nuestros compañeros, creo mucho en que nuestra misión sí está siendo cumplida, ayudar a nuestras familias en su idioma como es necesario. Aparte, he tenido también la oportunidad de aprender un poquito de portugués. ICS me ha dado la oportunidad para aprender un poco más de otro idioma. Así que si como yo a mi edad puedo aprender otro idioma, ustedes y sus familias están muy bien recibidos aquí para aprender otro idioma más con el amor y la pasión que nosotros sabemos darle a ustedes.
Yes, come on. Why are you looking at me?
Because you do it and we repeat.
You're the cheer captain.
There you go.
Give me an I. I. Give me a C. C. Give me an S. S. What does it say? ICS.
This following section is brought to you by Dorcas International Institute of Rhode Island. Thank you for your support.
How old are the students in the first graduating class of ICS today, give or take a year?
Every year we look for the praying mantis. It's probably a different praying mantis every year, but it's a huge praying mantis that's almost always in the garden. And a couple of years we actually found the pod for the babies, and we were like learning all about it, and then it went really closely aligned to our 3rd grade unit on animal adaptation. And so all the students were like trying to study about praying mantises and learning what they do. And then, you know, that's a little bit of a shocking tale for kids. So that's one of my favorite things about the garden is just the wildlife and the growing of the food.
Don't forget the salad.
This is my mom, Kate Lakacher. She's in charge of the garden. She'll tell you all about it.
Like, did you see there's actually a
nest?
A nest with eggs in it because there was a robin. Yeah. So we started this garden years ago, and there's a picture of my oldest son Henry when he was in 1st grade in front of the school, and there was no garden here, just a field of crabgrass. And it's a photo that I show people now to explain how I got into school gardens. I'm a landscape architect and a gardener. I can't drop my kid off every day and see this and not be dying to plant a garden here. We got a team together, and we worked with the Health and Wellness Committee and a bunch of parents and with Miss Julie, and we raised money and we built this garden. We set up a whole garden program here, and every grade had a garden plot and a project. So for example, the kindergartners would plant a big lettuce garden, and then we'd harvest it before the summer and have a big salad with edible flowers, which they loved. And then 1st grade would plant a salsa garden, and we'd, tomatillos and cilantro. And we'd come back and make salsa and have salsa and chips. And I think we had a pesto garden, and we had a potato patch. I've always thought it was so important for kids to understand where their food came from, so this was a great experience. They got to try a lot of things. They got to sample the herbs around the garden and see this smells like, this mint smells like gum, or this oregano smells like spaghetti sauce. There are a lot of lessons to learn in the garden. You're part of this ecosystem too, but you're visiting. Kids come out here, they get excited about insects. Sometimes their first response is to step on them, so we talk about that. My boys worked with me in the garden quite a bit. I came in, and it might have seemed embarrassing at first to have their mom, Miss Kate, come and do garden projects, but it involved French fries, so they got over it pretty quickly. So these are my guys. Henry here was in 1st grade when we started this garden, and Angus was born that year, so he's been involved with this garden pretty much his whole life, and George has as well.
Yeah.
What was it like to have your mom come to school? And
It was fun. I was a celebrity. All the kids knew me as Miss Kate's son. So.
How about you, Angus?
It was fun. It was a little embarrassing, but it was pretty. Yeah, it was fun.
One of the amazing things was having the continuity of having kids plant in the spring and then come back and see what they had planted, see how it grew, and harvest it, and know that they would plant something else the next spring. So it kind of became part of the culture of the school that, the garden was a part of it all.
This following section is brought to you by Dorcas International Institute of Rhode Island. Thank you for your support.
Qual que foi o endereço original da escola?
Siempre ha sido el sombrero cordobés, por su gracia y su majeza el soberano, pues toreros, flamencos y canel lo lucieron con el aire más gitano. Lagartijo, frachuelo, machaquito y espartero, con orgullo lo llevaron este clásico sombrero. El sombrero de ala ancha con que adorno mi cabeza, yo lo llevo y con él voy orgulloso pregonando su majeza. Y no hay otro más castizo y español ni que iguale su belleza, porque los rayos del sol bautizaron su majeza. Cuando voy a los toros en Jerez, luzco yo con alegría mi sombrero, y a mi paso se escuchan los olés, y me aplauden mucho más que a los toreros. Y si voy con mi caca muy flamenca al tentaero, soy el rey de la fiesta con mi clásico sombrero. El sombrero de ala ancha con que adorno mi cabeza, yo lo llevo y con él voy orgulloso pregonando su majeza. Y no hay otro más castizo y español ni que iguale su belleza, porque los rayos del sol bautizaron su majeza.
Happy Anniversary ICS!
You have the pleasure of hearing many performances this evening by people who have been part of the ICS community for these past 20 years. There's one performance that has a particular place in my heart. Marlene Luna was my student in a 7th and 8th grade ESL class more than 20 years ago, and I still have a close relationship with her. It is a testament to the power of education and the role it plays in all of our lives. She will perform spoken word with Hannah Johnson, our music teacher, in a collaboration that has never happened before, and I think you will find it very powerful.
The immigrant pain is a pain on pause. It's arriving home after so many years, knowing, but not wanting to understand nor accept the cause. The immigrant pain is a guilty pain, a confused pain, a dreadful pain, a joyful pain, a welcome pain. The immigrant pain is returning home, wanting to celebrate those accomplishments gained while being away. How proud you carry the last name, how your morals and values were never an option to negotiate. The immigrant pain is being ready to share and explain how you confronted those challenging days, how you stood up tall and brave and not be able to. Because your first stop is at their grave. The immigrant pain is returning and explaining that you didn't have time off to celebrate achievements, but you were granted days off for bereavement. The immigrant pain is acknowledging that all that time working hard to give them a better life is the same life you missed by being miles apart. El dolor del extranjero es un dolor inquieto, un dolor abierto, dolor que nunca sana, dolor que te interroga, dolor que no perdona. Immigrant pain is wanting to stop time in that last embrace, not knowing if it's the last time you'll see that face, is waving and blowing kisses while you walk away with your heart breaking in pieces, es marchar con el corazón en pedacitos, es querer cancelar el viaje cuando damos el último besito, es querer parar el tiempo en ese último abrazo. Es irnos, llenos de dudas, pero convencerlos de que estamos dando el mejor paso. The immigrant pain is not something that can really be explained. It's just felt.
This following section is brought to you by Dorcas International Institute of Rhode Island. Thank you for your support.
Trivia! Where was ICS located during its first year?
Hi, Carolina. I'm so happy to see you.
Hi, I'm Carolina. I'm a 7th grader at Moses Brown, and I graduated from ICS. And I took Miss Mary Beth's photograph class in 3rd grade.
And I'm Mary Beth Meehan, and otherwise known as Miss Mary Beth, and I've taught the 3rd grade Documenting Cultural Communities photo project here at the International Charter School for 11 years.
So can you tell us about your work with photography and how you got involved with ICS?
Sure. So I've been a photographer for over 25 years, and I've been telling stories in different communities and making pictures of people. And when my sons became students here at ICS and I got to know the school and the students, I realized how amazing it would be to teach them photography, and then they could go out and tell their own stories.
So about the photography project that we did in 3rd grade, I remember some stuff, but some things I can't really remember that well.
That makes sense.
Can you tell me more about it?
The project was a way to study culture. But instead of learning about that from a book, we decided, let's send all of you wonderful kids home with a camera to photograph your families and your friends and your holidays and your customs, and then to bring all those pictures back and write about your lives. So we had this incredible display of all these beautiful kids' cultures from all over the world when we did the final exhibition. So maybe you didn't realize that that's what we were doing because you were so focused on making your own pictures, but what we were trying to do is get kids to learn about what culture meant and to be able to see it in their own lives, and then to be able to learn about it through other kids' pictures. So do you remember anything about what you photographed way back then?
I remember I photographed a lot of, like my grandmother. I photographed her brushing her hair, teaching me how to crochet, like it was like a self-portrait, and a funeral of my uncle.
I remember those pictures vividly.
Taking the photos, I like saw how like emotional it was and like how much of a story it told. I think that's why I decided to take those pictures. Showing her at the exhibit, she was like, I remember her saying that she was like really proud of me for like taking all those pictures and being able to like have it shown and stuff.
What I love about the exhibition is that, you know, we've given kids these tools to photograph and write about their lives. And to have those photographs on the walls, over the years, we've had hundreds and hundreds of people be able to come through and see these pictures and read what you've written. So to you, your grandmother's no big deal. You're with her all the time. She taught you how to crochet. You see her every day. But for someone else who you don't know to be able to read what you wrote and to see the work and think about your grandmother coming here from Cape Verde and all of the things that she taught you and why she's important, think about every kid at ICS having a display like that seen by hundreds of people. So what we've done is we've really shared all these stories about what life is like. And if we don't do that, then otherwise people don't know who we are, and it's harder to connect to strangers if we know nothing about each other.
Well, like, what's next for the photo project?
Well, we have over 10 years of photographs. Over 600 third graders went through Miss Mary Beth's photo project. And so we have this incredible archive of pictures and stories. And what we really want to do now is put them all together in a book so that we'll have them and families will have them, and we'll have this amazing archive of 10 years of ICS, you know, what life was like during those years. So that's what we're hoping for.
This following section is brought to you by Dorcas International Institute of Rhode Island. Thank you for your support.
Quando que a escola começou a levar os estudantes para os Azores?
I think we first started working together probably more than 5 years ago or so.
Well, 2015.
Yeah.
So,
wow.
yeah.
And I remember I was talking to Tenny Gross, and he was working with you for the Institute, and he
Right.
said, you
And
must...
That's over 10 years old now. That's about 10 years old.
He said, you have to call Barbara if you need to do anything with developing ICS.
Oh, that's lovely.
Yeah. So, but then when I met you and we started working together, I learned of all the work that you have done in Rhode Island. Can you talk a little bit about your work and what you've done?
Are we on now?
We are on, yeah.
I know, I didn't want to interrupt because it was awesome.
I thought
Do you want to start again?
Oh, thank you, Julie. It's a pleasure to be here. And we have done a lot. My background is in city planning. And so that when I began my career, it was in city planning. And when I decided to move on from the city planning and put together a business, I wanted to understand how developments occurred and how they were financed and how you made them happen. So I began a planning and development consulting office, and we started with a lot of affordable housing. But through the years, our passion was also community revitalization projects and projects that can make a difference.
Yeah.
And so downtown we worked, we helped to develop the Dreyfus Hotel and the Mercantile Building.
Yep.
It's really been that kind of a mix of community revitalization and affordable housing projects.
So in this next, we still hope to expand to the middle school level. And as you know, we recently acquired some properties across the street from the school. So for me, that's really exciting because I love where we are. When we considered moving to, you've been to many buildings with me throughout the state, when we've considered some places that were farther away and not in the urban core, I often worried that we might lose the population of students that we have, which are predominantly from Providence, Pawtucket, and Central Falls. So this home in Pawtucket we love our home, and so I'm really excited to think of expanding here. Thinking about that and the real potential now, because we own these properties, what do you think the impact could be for Pawtucket?
Well, it certainly has been my impression that Pawtucket wanted to keep you here.
Yeah.
And so that's probably the best piece. What the International Charter School does is ICS, it provides an alternative.
Yeah.
I'm a strong supporter of public education. I'm a strong supporter of all education.
Yeah.
And I think having alternatives, anything that will shake up the system and give us a better delivery of education for our young people is good. I think Pawtucket realizes that.
I think expanding our footprint and the number of families that we serve here, I think there's lots of research that shows how that has a positive impact on the economics of a particular community. So I would be excited about that for the community as well.
Well, you know, ICS has a national reputation. You're very highly regarded throughout the country for the schooling and the education that you do with languages and the approach that you have. And so I think Pawtucket is proud to have you, but it's also a real asset for the community to have a first-class educational institution such as yours wanting to locate here.
So as we've been thinking about our 20 years and you know, the different people that have been involved in developing, innovating, and helping us grow, we've been thinking about what's important to us, what our mission is, and what we hope to do with children. And one of the things with children in the International Baccalaureate program is that through learning, they take action to make the world a better place. And I really see you doing that, Barbara. You've done that for so many people in Rhode Island, and you've done that for ICS. And I hope that we one day will be cutting that ribbon together for the middle school. But I really, really appreciate everything you've done for us and for the state, really.
Well, thank you. You're very kind. My goal is to get you a facility so that you can continue to grow, to expand what you're doing now and impact more young people.
All right, well, here's to that.
Feliz Anniversario ICS!
Hello, ICS community. Mina and I are parents of Juna, who's a third grader, and Elia, who's a rising kindergartner. And we're really happy to offer some music for the occasion. We both play violin, and we work at Community Music Works in Providence. And the pieces we're going to play today are by Bela Bartok, and they're from the 44 Duets for Two Violins, which he wrote after going around and listening to people singing folk songs, and then he wrote them down and made these duets out of them. So each one has a special title that comes from its folk song.
And there are 6 of them. They're each about a minute long or less. The first one is called Minuetto, which is a kind of dance. The second one is Ruthenian song. And the third is play song. After that is a fairy tale. And then pizzicato, which is actually just a fancy word for plucking our instruments. And the last one is a very feisty Ruthenian colomeca. So you can use your imagination and see what pictures come to mind as you listen to this music.
So this is Juna and Elia, and we're all here to say, Happy Anniversary ICS! Woo!
This following section is brought to you by Dorcas International Institute of Rhode Island. Thank you for your support.
When did we adopt the current ICS logo?
Olá, Gabriela, está tudo bem aí nas flores?
Mais ou menos, mais ou menos. Numa situação de isolamento profilático, por contato com uma pessoa contaminada, mas está tudo a correr muito bem, a pessoa já está com alta e eu, domingo, já vou sair. Mas tive 14 dias nesta situação, como é normal nesta altura.
Claro.
E tu, está tudo bom por aí?
Também, nós aqui já tivemos alguns episódios, mas por enquanto está tudo.
We are honoring different people for the role that they've played at ICS, and all of them have helped us to fulfill our mission, shown commitment to the school, and really helped our students and our staff understand what it means to be global citizens. And so we are awarding Gabriela Silva and Matilde Relvis, both of you, Global Citizen Awards for the work that you did in establishing the Azores Exchange Program. As you know, we were able to take students in 5th grade in the Portuguese English strand to the Azores for 4 years in a row, at least for 1 week during April vacation. And we'll talk a little bit about the experiences and the impact it's had on students, but it really was due to the work of both of you. So I just want to thank you on behalf of the entire ICS community for what you did to put that together and for being ICS global citizens.
Okay, muito obrigada.
Obrigada.
Gabriela stopped by, came over to introduce one of her books, children's books, and she came through the Portuguese consul, through at the time, the vice consul, Doutora Marcia da Ponte. But was like, you came to me and said, oh, Matilde, this would be wonderful to take these kids to the Azores. And my reaction was, you know, at this age. And that was it. You know, we said goodbye. You moved on. So did I. And then a month later, a month and a half, we were talking with your nephew and making plans.
And they were so impressed with this and that. And I think all children, they have a lot to share, and this is very, very important to do this.
We saw a lot, from, you know, the library to the museums, being at school, swimming. We took a trip about to Ilha das Cabras. I mean, we enjoyed all these different restaurants, and I mean, it was beautiful.
They saw all the towns of São Miguel from Ponta Delgada until Nordeste. We have been in all the câmaras municipais of the Azores, and we have been received by many different people. And I think the children, they really like.
It's very interesting. I think when I'm there with them, I notice the things that they notice, what's different, and what's different, and also what connects them to it. I mean, I remembered one of these little boy, the parent, I think you recall that the father called and said, so what did you do today? And the child kept saying, eu brinquei na rua. And I could hear the father asking the same thing. And the child, eu brinquei na rua, papai, eu brinquei na rua. So that experience, just being outdoors, I mean, literally in the street, we were playing soccer and there was no problem. There was no traffic, so we were fine. We stayed at this beautiful place, a Quinta dos Ficos, Turismo Rural, and it was an experience for them. You could tell. Yeah. Now, I think they're very young. So yes, we were there, we see those experiences, but I think that impact will come later on. And, you know, again, I've never been in contact with any of the kids that have gone with us, but I recently heard about one child that was doing a project and contacted his, you know, her first 5th grade teacher. And one of the things that she wrote was, I cannot believe how cool and how important that trip was for me. She was saying, I didn't realize until now that I'm looking for something and I'm going back to, so I think in the near future, we'll probably hear from them. And I think that they will It opens doors. It opens mind. I mean, it's at that age, and we're talking about kids that have never left the States.
Yes.
Some have never went, had a sleepover, and they're actually flying on a plane with teachers.
This following section is brought to you by Dorcas International Institute of Rhode Island. Thank you for your support.
Which organization is the sponsor of ICS?
There's something special about Pawtucket. This tiny city in a smaller state, embraced by brilliant sunsets and one-way streets, where diversity meets concrete and dances to a variety of different beats. Resident immigrants, Puerto Rican, Dominicans, and Cape Verdean citizens, mixed in with Nigerian, Brazilians, Irish, Sicilian women and children, all moved by the same rhythm. There are approximately 29 Dunkin' Donuts franchises and no Starbucks. But the influx of Colombians brought us empanadas and handsome sons. Where my brothers were from all over the globe, spoke different languages, ate different foods, prayed to different gods, but shared everything. Where my casa was always su casa, Bocaza was always ña casa, and my girlfriend was never your girlfriend, because when I broke up with her, so did all of my friends. The land of unspoken codes, dangerous shortcuts, and amazing basketball players who made the highway courts feel like the Boston Garden. The girl fights were always more fun to watch than the boy fights. Halloween was a pillowcase full of schoolhouse candy. 4th of July was a bonfire on Sherman Street. And chow mein sandwiches from Chin's was the most delicious food you ever tasted. ITT sent us to Rocky Point in the summers, and fake gold necklaces from Monet jewelry draped over cross-color shirts from Continental were essential. And everything could be fixed by releasing your mind on paper with a sharpened number 2 pencil. Where I still live, and still love, and still remember everybody I grew up with. Yeah, man, something special about Pawtucket.
As I said at the beginning, our primary task this evening was to celebrate ICS, and I think we did a great job of doing that. Additionally, all monies that were raised will go towards our new House of Music. Part of the mission of the International Charter School is to help children work collaboratively from their differing backgrounds. This is truly the story of all of us as well. I would like to thank all of the students, the families, the staff, the board members, and the community partners for helping to make ICS the very special place that it is. Thank you to the artists and performers for sharing your gifts with us over the years and tonight. And thank you to all of the awardees of the Global Citizens Award for all you have done to help ICS fulfill its mission and your commitment to ICS. As you can imagine, over the last 20 years, there are so many people who have contributed to making ICS such a special place. I would like to take this opportunity to thank all of you for your work with ICS. ICS, happy anniversary. I'm very excited to see what is to come in the next 20 years.
Gracias, Señora Julie.
She tries, she's special. She works hard to make us happy.
Makes arrangements when we go on field trips.
Well, but what else does she do?
She involves us in things that are important.
I am grateful that you have been my director, Miss Julie. You are very special. You have put all your efforts so that we can have a special graduation despite COVID.
Es muy divertido aprender en ICS porque hemos tenido la oportunidad de aprender sobre diferentes culturas, creencias y valores, y también hemos compartido el nuestro. Hemos podido establecer buenas relaciones con nuestros maestros.
Nossas viagens de campo educacionais ajudaram a aprender melhor porque temos experiência em primeira mão. Graças a você, podemos estudar em boas escolas e teremos muitas possibilidades para o futuro.